The party find themselves in dire straits, trying to fight off a band of summoned creatures, magic tentacles, and a hidden scrag flinging spells at them. Faris becomes magically immobilized. Grimes is pummeled by giant bugbears, and Yaramir is almost mage-napped. Just when things seem hopeless, Nimrod and the dogs join the fray. Not doing much, but at least they made an effort, and that's what counts. Plus, it creates enough of a disruption that the party can turn the tide of the battle in their favor. Hooray for Nimrod! Eventually, they drive the scrags off and manage to retreat into the cave, battered and bruised, but alive. They seal themselves in with ice and rest for about a week without too much trouble. Once they are feeling better, they begin to explore the ruins. They encounter a statue with a riddle that stumps them for a while and almost leads to Nimrod getting sacrificed. But eventually they figure it out. Then they find a second puzzle that Yaramir solves by trial and error and at great personal risk. Shortly after, they see a large serpent of bone just beyond them and decide to rest before continuing their exploration in case they trigger an attack. After another week of rest, they are ready to face the bony foe, and so they rush at it, but the bones do not animate. An inscription identifies this as the tomb of the first king of Caldonia. They also find a ball of flame, heating the room and keeping the king's body safe from looters, aka the party. They almost give up on dispelling the sphere, but they get creative with spells and items and manage to move it out of the way. The party greedily examines the king's treasure, but only find a disappointing quantity of gems and coins. They start opening the smaller sarcophagi, hoping to find wealth, but the only thing they find is a trap. Disappointed, the party departs and sets out to visit with the giants. Will the scrag return with reinforcements? Will the giants aid them against the dragon? Will Nimrod's efforts ever be recognized? Let's find out now on Frozen Frontier.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Frozen Frontier. How are you guys all doing today?
Doing well.
Pretty good.
Enthusiasm, I love it.
Yes.
I'm a bundle of the stuff.
I'm doing my best to muster enthusiasm.
It has been a long time since we played. Everyone's been out and about and doing things, traveling all over the place. And I hate to break the news, but we're going to continue being out and about and traveling all over the place for another 2 or 3 weeks. Yes, Nick, it's all your fault.
I know, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I say we kidnap Sean and drive to San Francisco. And I'll have a meet up there and do it live.
Now that would be sweet. Like, let's not lie. That would be awesome.
I won't complain if you do all of my homework for me.
What classes are you in? Hold on. You're taking engineering classes. What are you taking?
Yeah, I've got systems programming. Can you do that?
No, I'm not. I don't like programming. No.
Okay,
All right,
never mind.
Neal's a programmer. Neal can do your programming homework.
That's true. Neal, yes.
He uses PHP. Don't worry about it.
I cannot do his programming homework. Unless you need like something done in CSS too.
Academically irresponsible, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Unethical.
Yeah, it's a moral thing and not a technical thing. Absolutely.
All right, here's what we're gonna do, Sean. We're gonna create a go fund my homework page, and we're gonna just make your homework available to anyone in Twitch chat that wants to have Frofro happen, and then they can just do your homework for you, and you can come down to San Francisco with us. They can apply. I know programming. I can do this.
I cannot see a possible way this plan could go wrong.
A common life of various things.
I think it's gonna work. It'll be fine. Yeah. Until that though, wow, it's been such a long time. We already had the pre-show, where we got to chat for a little bit.
I know, right? I feel like since we've got a late start already, maybe we should just jump into the action.
Yeah, we should probably just.
If you really want to hear the pre-game banter, there's Twitch VODs, right? You can find that. You can find that.
So here you guys are at the Tomb of the First King, because you're all already in Roll20, because you're all such good players of mine that you would never not be in Roll20 after a month and a half of not playing.
That's right.
Right?
You're never in Roll20, Sean.
Neither are you.
I am usually, not this time, but I usually am.
So here we are by the tomb of the first king. Let's get some background music in here.
Because of course we're all in the Fervo Disco channel.
Of course, you're all
Yeah.
on the Fro Disco channel.
Let me just go take a look at that channel that I'm already in.
I'll just make mouth noises to simulate the background wind.
That should work.
I appreciate simulated mouth noises.
Okay.
But not non-simulated, like regular mouth noises, not so much?
Correct. Yeah, we'll roll with that. Yeah.
Okay.
I like my audio enhanced mouth noises, but no, natural mouth noises. So pedestrian.
Yeah. All the like smacking of eating that.
Yeah, no. But if you simulate that, ooh, that's good stuff.
Cool.
All right, so I hate to be the one to have to ask this, but can we just get a quick experience check?
I'm glad you asked because I didn't want to be the one to.
I'm
looking at-
70,000.
Yes. All right,
476 and 72 hundredths.
Yeah, sounds good.
Ryan, you are 6th or 7th level.
7th.
All right, my stats on you are out of date. I'll update them a little bit later. Everyone is 7th level, right?
Yes.
No one has
Yeah.
gone to 8th.
Unless Ryan has.
No, I'm 14k away.
All right, I'll need to update my copy of your character sheets later. So here you are. You've exited the tomb, and you're looking about at the frozen wastelands all around you. It is a 6 on the weather for the day, so that is a light day. And there's your dogs, there's your kobold, there's your sled. Where to?
So I'm trying to remember where the giants said they actually lived. It was in this mountain range somewhere, wasn't it?
Yep, it was actually up on the top of this section of the
I
range
think
right
it's
above you.
where we are, but up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So how do we get up there? Grimes, have you been able to find a path? Have we already sent you out looking for that?
I can't remember. So I do recall scouting like the north side of this range. Does that sound familiar, Neal?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the
Smack.
party found the tomb on the south. I don't think there was anything on the north side of the range, Neal.
You didn't see
Was there?
anything. No.
And there was no paths up.
Yeah, you explored this whole area back and forth, but these giants are like 20-something feet tall.
Yeah,
they
they're good
probably don't
climbers.
need paths in the same way that you guys do.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to wonder how we can get into a conversation with them.
Isn't there? Are there ruins on top of these mountains?
That's what they said, yeah, I think, or a temple.
Or a tower? Maybe this is the temple. So I think we need to scout for a tower, for a way up,
Yeah.
or for some
Yeah.
sign of giant.
Maybe spend a couple of days scouting this edge of the mountains and try and look for a path. It's not a question, guys. Get looking.
What are you looking at me for? That's Grimes' job.
Well, we'll all get together. I assume then it kind of like if we came like this way, maybe we should check this bit, the bottom here.
I think we came like this way. Well, and then Grimes did like a scouty scout.
Yeah. So yeah, so it looks like this little bit to the bottom might be what we need to check.
Yeah.
So
I don't think we've been further south than this though.
yeah, in fact, we're getting dangerously close to where the dragons are here, but we could go south a little bit across the mountains and try and look for any points of interest. And failing that, if we go a couple of days down and don't find anything, maybe we just like head back.
I think it's like right here. I mean, so can I look up at the mountain? Like when we've exited the tomb, right? And we're setting up dogs and sleds and things. Can I look up the mountains right here and see if there's anywhere that's climbable?
Well, to you, it's all
party
climbable. You can
Sure, but
easily
that I
scale
could-
this shit.
A route that I could plot for the rest of the party.
Yeah, you would have to go and start climbing up the mountains to do the plotting, but you figure between your experience climbing and the, all the experience you have leading these people up mountains, you could do it. You just end up having to leave the sled and the dogs and the kobold behind. Well, the kobold might be able to come.
Kobold's probably a better climber than everyone but me. Maybe even better than me. But I will relay as much to the party. So I think I can I think I can get us up basically anywhere. We would just be without our supply, without our sled.
We can carry enough days worth of rations with us. Perhaps Nimrod can look after the sled and the dogs again.
Yeah. Still, it may be prudent to scout a little ways south. What time of day is it?
I think you guys are exiting in the morning. I think you rested last night in the tomb. So we're gonna say that you spent last night in the tomb resting up after your thingy, and this is the next morning.
Okay.
And since you did encase yourself in ice in the tomb, you've had to like break the ice wall to get back out, just as a point of order.
So maybe head south for a day or two, see what's down there, and then, finding anything, climb up the mountain.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right. So you will spend this light day scouring the south side of the mountain range.
Yeah.
Well, Sean, why don't you give us a movement rate?
Yeah, so it's light, so that's D8 plus 6.
Yes.
Can't believe I remember this. And then we get times 1.5 because of the dogs.
Yes.
19 and a half miles.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay.
So how far did you want to scout, Nick?
Well,
Did you want to
We
spend...
basically get all the way into this forest. Do we scout the whole thing, or do we go part of the way
You
back?
could go all... Yeah, exactly.
Well,
I'm worried about dragons. Can we see any dragons in the mountains? Because there's a pretty big marker on the map here that says other dragons. I believe there was two
I
dragons.
think you wrote that.
Yeah, I know. But I mean,
So you tell us, Nick. Do we see any dragons? You've got it marked on the map here.
You're not going senile on us already, are you?
I might be. I'm not sure. It's hard for me to say.
I think the giants told us that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Why don't you all give me perception checks as you come out after spending a couple of weeks in this tomb and scan the mountaintops?
I think it was out of character a couple of weeks, in character a couple of days, right?
No, in character was a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we were. in there
We
for a
have
while.
a lot of resting or something.
Yeah, you spent a bunch...
We got
Didn't you just hear the
two-
recap? You spent weeks in there resting.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Oh, so the spyglass.
I was
We get to
distracted by the narrator's lusty voice.
All right. So Yarmir shields his eyes against the morning sun and the glare from all of the snow everywhere. Scans the horizon. Nick is off, taking care of the dogs because he can't see anything with his old eyes anyway. So what does it matter? Grimes is probably lost thinking about the treasure.
I'm preoccupied plotting a climbing path or something.
Yeah, you're looking up this way. Everything seems fine until Ferris, after scouting the side of the mountain, is like, let's just pull out the spyglass anyway. When you spot with your little eye something white, which I know is a broad range of things, but nestled up at the peak of this mountain right here,
that's pretty close.
you see a curled up reptilian white-scaled creature that looks to be napping on the top of the mountain. Its eyes
is it, like,
look
curled
closed.
around the peak, or
It's not like actually around like the very tip of the peak itself. It doesn't come quite to such a fine point.
okay? I was
But
wondering if
it's-
it was like literally wrapped all the way around it.
No, it is on the crest of the mountain, but
Okay.
it's not
Where
such
are
a
we when he spots us? Like how
right,
far?
right where you are. You haven't started your day yet.
Okay.
Yeah. So you see a dragon sleeping up on the mountaintops, enjoying
Well, we found our next dragon, and I toss the spyglass to William and point out the direction for him to look.
Yeah. With your help, he can spot it.
Here, let me see that. And I grab for the spyglass.
Everyone takes a turn at the looking glass.
Yeah.
And,
Okay, I would like to make a gauge check to see how long this dragon is.
Ooh, fancy.
Bum.
Relative to sleep would be nice.
My gauge is an 18.3.
What?
Neal's. Oh, okay, so that's barely a pass. Let's check my beefy skills.
Oh, I thought you crashed for a
much.
second.
No. But opening a new tab in Firefox is pushing my computer to the limits.
Isn't it supposed to use less memory now?
What? I don't know.
Firefox is pretty streamlined these days. Relatively speaking to Chrome, of course.
Yeah.
It's kind of used to be the other way around, but
times they are changing. So you're looking at this dragon up there, and you're remembering all the times that you saw Sleet and the times that you came back and ripped apart his body. And you're like, yeah, this is a bigger dragon.
is that really all I can get? Let me... Are you looking at the document? That's taking forever for me to load.
No, I'm not looking at that document at all. I should open that, though. We're talking about the thief document, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me open that up. But right off the bat, because you did pass your check, yeah? Good.
Yeah, I passed, but the way you've got the skill, I think at yeah, come on. Load.
Here we go. Gauge. So you are... you can study this carefully, so you can get a +4. You're not distracted or any of these other things. So a +4 on top of your 18 brings you, or on your 23 brings you to a 27. You can't see it in combat, so you don't know any of its combat stats.
I mostly want to know its length, right? So,
so it looks...
look, do I clear the... Let's see. Remaining... So the 20. So with the bonuses, that's at least the.
That's a 27. Yeah.
27.
So I'm gonna say dragons are. They're at least determining the length of them. They would be familiar to you, so you can get fairly specific lengths on it. Let me give you.
Although dragon is specifically mentioned under strange, but that's more for like their attributes.
Right, but I think if you're just trying to like see how long the dragon is, I would leave them as familiar. Strange would be attributes and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So specific, it should give me its height to ±1/2 an inch. Just kidding. That's for a person.
Yeah, those would be for a person. So let's see.
I feel like these are too. You may need to revise these numbers. Like specific, you'd consider age ±1% as specific. Like you could look at a person and know they're aged within 1 year.
That'd be impressive.
More or less, just based on the lifespan of a person.
If you do well, if you roll well enough.
I mean, don't some people age better than others?
That'd be a 26 on it.
Chat, gauge Neal's age.
Chat? No one in chat is a proficient.
We know Neal is 43. Like, we don't...
Right. Sean somehow got an extra decade added onto my years. Decade and a year, but that's fine.
99 years. So if we can get a proficient thief in the party, someone should be able to guess his age to within 1 year. Or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Give me the deets. How long is this creature?
Well, its body
probably
looks
tens
to be...
of feet, maybe.
Yeah, I would say its body's about 50 feet long.
Mm-hmm.
And its tail is maybe another like 40 feet.
Yeah. So all in all, we're looking at about 100-foot critter.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to Sleet, which was what?
About that, but a little shorter.
I think Sleet
More
was
like
on the
70
order...
or 80 total.
I think Sleet's body was 30 feet and the tail like another 20 feet. I think Sleet was about 50.
So it's about twice as big as Sleet. That doesn't bode tremendously well, does it? So with that information, I think perhaps we should just go 10 miles down and 10 miles back, since we can do 20 miles today, more or less.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Sure.
And I think we should stick to the forest and
agreed.
take cover, periodically popping above the, popping above the tree line, or if there's a good hill on like the slopes of the mountain that I can run up and get a view.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm looking for... Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, whenever I get the chance, I'm going to spyglass this dragon and make sure it's not, looking like if I see it like wake up and start scanning around, I'm going to have us hide in the trees.
Right.
Yeah.
Good call. So, Ryan, you begin to climb the mountainside.
I don't climb. I'm looking for if there's trails that I can see, but I don't think I'm not climbing.
There's definitely no trails.
Yeah, so I'll pop up trees or pop up hills to get a view of the mountains, but I think we're traveling 10 miles this way.
Okay.
Right.
So we'll bring the party about 10 miles this way. And as you come along this route, you still see no trails, nothing that would look like an easy way up anywhere.
Nothing. No points of interest along here.
Nope. Just endless mountains, new terrain.
What's
snow.
the forest like? Does it feel like we're entering a dragon's territory yet?
It's a moderately thick forest. All of the trees here, as you go by and check them, are all very old trees. There's no fresh ones here. They're all already cured and ready to go. There's no real sign of wildlife. There's no tracks of kobolds or caribou or gnolls or anything like that. It's just kind of pristine, untouched Alaskan wilderness.
Yeah, so
Caledonian wilderness. Nimrod.
No, we've been transported to Alaska.
This is, yeah, you can see Russia already. You know, it's,
Barky Barky.
Watch out for Natasha and Boris. I hear they have very dangerous magic.
that was a good
Nimrod.
shenanigans.
Nimrod, have you been here before?
Huh? Here?
Have you been here before? To
This
these
place?
woods this far south?
No,
No.
no.
Do you know
Nimrod
this
lived
land?
there, he says, pointing through the mountains. That way. That where I live.
Do you know whose territory this is?
He thinks real long and hard for a moment. Like he's trying to remember the names of all these other things down here. He's like, yes.
Are there kobolds
Yes, I
here?
do. Yes. Yes.
Okay. They don't.
Kobold
they don't-
everywhere.
Even in the shadow of the dragon's mountain.
Some kobold. We
Brave
own 'em.
kobolds.
It's our home. We everywhere.
well,
Well, party.
I think we turn back around then. I don't think we should go
Yeah.
any further into these woods.
So I think we go 10 miles down, 10 miles back, actually, and try and scout out the best route to climb up tomorrow,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
So see if I can pick out the best spot on these mountains to climb up to the top. I'm guessing one of these, I should probably pick a different color. One of these peaks here is going to have a temple on top of it. Maybe even directly above that tomb entrance. So we'll try and find the easiest route I can find to get to those peaks.
You know, would we not be able to see said temple with the spyglass?
You have not yet seen said temple with the spyglass. No.
Is
You
it
might
worth-
be able to, but you haven't yet.
Is it worth maybe sending Grimes to climb up first to look for it, and then coming back down, and we'll go back up together?
Probably.
Yeah.
It might not be a good idea to start climbing before we even know where we're going.
Yeah. So let's we'll go back to, you know, can we essentially get back to the tomb, Neal? Yeah, and then we'll rest, and then tomorrow morning we'll send Grimes up to look for it. Assuming something's there, then we'll climb up together.
All right. The next day comes along. Mark rations, please. And the weather turns a little foul. It is a moderate day, bordering on a blizzard. The winds are picking up and moving everything around, but it's like cold enough that it's not actually picking up the extra snow. So it's just these like really annoying winds that are buffeting you all over the place. Is this the sort of weather you want to go climbing in, Grimes?
I don't know. What do we think, Captain? It's risky, but
It's probably safe enough
probably
for
still
you to get up
doable
there, right?
for me. I wouldn't want to take the party up there, but
Sure. Well, you go up and take a look. Yeah. We'll
All
hold
right.
the fort. Faris, give Grimes the spyglass.
Will he be able to use it?
I think so. Why not?
in the blizzard is the visitor in the.
Well, I was more worried you'd be looking up a mountainside. I mean, you could say, yes, that is a nice mountainside, but I'm not sure you'd be able to see anything without a better vantage point.
No, but he's got to be up the
If
mountain.
I can get to one of those peaks up there, is the storm fully overhead, or is there like if you get high enough up the mountain, do you get above like a cloud line, fog line, something like that?
You might. You've actually never tried that before. That's something that you could try and check out.
Okay. I'm gonna ditch some weight so I can climb unencumbered. I lose about 30 pounds if I'm taking my climbing gear. I think I'm going to go without armor.
Okay. Just be careful.
Oh, whoa, this does positives and negatives? I tried to put a negative sign in to make it drop the weight, but there we go. All right, so if I take off my chain shirt and my hide limbs, should be good. Actually, I don't think I need a lantern. So I leave, my chain armor and a few things behind to get down to unencumbered.
Okay.
Yeah, what's that, Captain?
Before you go, remember the king of the giants is called Gordoth, and we spoke with Lydia and Jarl. So if you run into any, make sure to name drop them.
Gordoth, Lydia, Jarl.
Yeah, Gordoth, the wise, the giant king.
Okay. I'm gonna write these down actually.
Yeah.
Lydia and Jarl.
Jarl, yeah.
Jarl. Although Lydia was in charge.
Yeah, but Gordoth's the big boss, though.
All right. And I think we will set off climbing. So, my base climb skill is a 26. Let's take a look at penalties.
Yeah, there should be some adverse weather penalties somewhere in there.
Yeah. So, climb.
Neal, would we have got HP for yesterday?
I think we all should be at full.
I don't think I am. I
Okay,
took some damage fighting in a trap, I think.
You would have gotten HP yesterday walking back and forth.
Yeah, all
So I think we're talking... Oh, wait. The wind conditions decrease move speed.
Okay, that's what it's going to be. Yeah.
And then there's, icy conditions.
Right. So it is moderate for Caledonia, but that is going to be strong winds for you. So you'll be moving at half speed. And you'll be able to... Yeah, that's fine.
Is it slippery or something like that?
I mean, it's always slippery around here. It's always a little icy and cold and wet and whatever.
And natural rock, so maybe a -2 penalty. What do you think the penalty is?
I would say the natural rock is fairly rough. It's just mountainside, so I'd actually give you a bonus of 2 for it. And then
so the +2 for the rock and -4 for the slippery.
Right, so -2. Yep.
All right, so just a 24. So as usual, just don't roll a 1.
Woo!
And I do fine. I don't know what my speed is. I don't want to stay up there overnight, so I'll go up half a day, come down half a day.
Sure, that sounds good.
If I can, I'm thinking maybe this front. I don't know how accurate this is, but this front peak looks kind of low. Mm-hmm. Or if there's something else in between, so I can maybe climb up if I can get above the fog or whatever, and take a look with a spyglass. But
sure.
What do
You
we see?
go and start climbing up the mountain. It is a tough climb with all the winds buffeting you around and the slipperiness of it. And there's so much loose snow that if you grab a rock that's maybe not super stable, it'll start to fall, and then a whole bunch of snow from up top will topple onto you and get down your shirt a little bit. It's a uncomfortable climb that you have trouble making. But after the first 400 feet or so up this cliff, it kind of evens out, and you have these plateaus and climbs and plateaus, and you have managed to make relatively good time after the first few hundred feet. Yeah. You spend half the day scaling the mountains, and with your expertise, you get all the way up. Not to the tippy top, but you get up to the, 90% of the way up the mountain. Have a good vantage point.
I would still need to prepare and do that, but...
Right. You can see the party down below you with the spyglass. The winds up here are just as bad as they are down there. Maybe even worse because there's no cover from the mountainside, so you get these gusts that are much faster than the persistent pushing. And why don't you give me a perception check to see if you can find anything in the tough conditions of this wind knocking everything around.
I don't think so.
You get advantage with the spyglass.
That's true. Ooh.
Nice. Good thing. So what do I spot when I put the spyglass up?
Yeah, you don't see anything at first. You're like, it's just a fucking wasteland out here. And then you're like, oh, right, spyglass. Yeah, okay, let's see what's going on. And as you're looking at this terrible, awful wasteland, one of these sections of the mountain, not too terribly far from you, maybe like 1,000 feet, 1,500 feet, that you thought was just a craggy spire, you're now realizing is a delicately carved pillar that is carved to look like a spire, but at the same time there is some geometry to it that gives it a swirling pattern. And that is further down the mountain range from where you are currently. It's actually out towards the
west,
peak more.
Right.
Yeah, like northwest.
From up here, can I see an easier way to get there, or is the way that I came up?
Whoops, I'm sorry. I pointed the wrong direction. It is southeast. It's the other way. I was looking on the wrong screen.
Somewhere
That
over
way.
here.
Somewhere over there. Yeah.
Is there an easier way to get there, or is this pretty much the route to take, or a route to
There's
take?
definitely an easier way. With the spyglass, you can see that the area you came up was more or less average over the whole thing. And there is a section down over here that has a tougher start to it. It's more of a sheer start, but it's only like 100 feet of that. And then it's a fairly... there's a series of inclines that are a little bit more shallow that you could switch back up if you wanted to.
100 feet is perfect, because that's exactly how much rope I have. So I'm going to climb back down this way, and then use that 100 feet of rope plus a grappling hook to set up, like fixing the grappling hook. I've got pittons too, so if that's more secure, hammer in a pitton.
Would you lose 2 pittons as you hammer this in?
Sure, we need to procure some more pittons, but there's 2 pittons, and I will secure those.
Totally good.
Let down 100 feet of rope, climb down, and rejoin the party.
Yeah, I think you'll end up...
That probably takes the whole day.
You'll probably end up trudging into camp late that day. Like, they've already... The tent is set up, there's a fire going inside, the sun has set, and you're kind of like following along the edge of the mountain with the occasional like light flickering from when someone leaves the tent to guide you. And eventually you make it back to the rest of the party. Safe and sound, all cuddled inside the tent, dogs piled in, kobold mixed in with the dogs, Yaramir naked, examining his body, looking for new spells, Ferris with his back to Yaramir working on some dragon armor, William reading letters from his wife.
Oh, I don't have to do that anymore. We got a leather worker.
That's true, but you've got like your armor with you that you're maybe like looking at. I imagine you play with the things that you create while you're out and waiting. Maybe not.
I mean, I'm wearing the magic armor. I'm wearing the gorgeous set of armor that I did not make.
Okay.
I'm just admiring their handicraft.
Is Ferris still wearing that hideous mask? That thing's glued to your face, right?
Yeah, no, I can't take it off.
We try not to. We have him sit in the corner of the tent, so we don't have to look at him. All right. Grimes, you survived.
Yeah, it's blustery up there.
What did you find?
There is a spire carved into the... I thought it a mountain peak at first, but it's either built or carved from the rock itself.
Humans?
Or giants. I think this must be the Temple of Nerul that... the climb should be manageable after the first 100 feet or so. I've set up a rope, and we can get started.
What do I
tomorrow,
know?
weather permitting.
Nerul is the goddess of family, society, and home. She is the product of Martha
Isn't
and
Nerul the
Astaire.
goddess of nature?
That's Nadinus.
Nadinus. Oh, okay, sorry for nothing then.
That's fine. Nerul is the daughter of Martha, the god of life and creation, and Astaire, the god of law and order. She is the twin sister of Reluna, and often at odds with her. Family, to Nadinus, family is the root of all order in the world. It is said that all people in the world are made of half a soul, and that it is their eternal journey to find their soulmate, their other half, in order to become complete. That's sort of the ethos of Nerul. Her twin sister Luna is the fiery, passionate goddess of passion, who is the son of Malchus and Martha. How these twin sisters can have a different father is one of those like weird god things that doesn't really make any sense, but it just does.
All right.
I mean, I have an answer, but it's a little lewd. Anyway, so she actually is interesting, given that mythos, with a folklore proficiency. Can I know more about her relationship with souls? It seems like we run into that a lot in Caldonia. Perhaps is there a particular significance to a temple to Reluna and souls? Like, is there practices in folklore? I don't know. In some way
Nerul is one of those gods and goddesses that tends not to have like a major presence in a church or a temple, because everyone, like practically everyone, has their own like little shrine to Nerul in their house. At least the good families do. You know, they'll have like a little effigy or a little statue, and they'll say their like small prayers to her as they go about their day. She's one of the more personal gods that doesn't get a ton of public talk time, unless it's like a politician being like, Nerul's the way of the world, guys, we all need to have these Nerulian values. But other than that, like everyone just, it's a personal relationship most people have.
That's cool.
It would be kind of out of the ordinary to see a dedicated temple to her.
It's definitely a little out of the ordinary, yeah. That these giants have a major temple to Nerul as like one of the few landmarks they've told you about would be very odd and perhaps indicative of their value system.
That's why they're nice guys, I guess. So then, Neal, I suppose that maybe William would pray to Nerul when he's thinking about like making sure his family are safe and stuff like that.
Actually, let's talk about this, because Nerul says one of her philosophies, or the philosophies of her followers, is that everyone's made of half a soul, and you want to go on your journey to find the other half, who is your soulmate, which is sort of contrary to a lot of other lore out there. They don't always match up. Would you, William, do you think of your wife as your soulmate?
Yeah, I think so.
Are you sure it's not your harpoon?
My harpoon.
What?
My harpoon. No, he's right though. That is my most treasured possession. I guess so, but it's kind of weird, right? Because when you're a noble, you sort of marry for money, don't you, more than love?
Right, exactly. So you kind of married her not necessarily because you saw her and fell in love with her, but it was advantageous for everyone, and she was pretty, and you were into it, and she was sort of into you. Right?
I think that, I think that he would have just convinced himself that she was his soulmate, right? Otherwise, why would he have married her? You know, it's the god's will for that to have happened, so it just makes sense. Plus, most nobles get married in that way. Okay. So it seems weird to us in our modern day, but I don't think it would seem that strange.
So William is convinced that his wife is his soulmate.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Right then, well,
what does his wife have to say on the matter?
Well, she hasn't written to him in 2 years, so...
And we all know the rumors about town.
Well, yeah, I don't know those rumors, thank God. All right, well, it sounds like we go there tomorrow then, assuming the weather permits.
All right. We are going...
Sorry.
What did you say,
Take your...
When this wraps up, like when Frofa wraps up, I need to see like William's return to his hometown when he gets to go all CeeLo green on everybody.
Nice.
If somebody has been sleeping with my wife, though, like I feel like they're gonna die.
You mean if your wife has been sleeping with someone?
Yeah, like they're all gonna die.
Okay.
3 years in the frozen wasteland with a flaming sword slaying dragons. I'm not sure he's gonna be in a mental state to deal with that.
Interesting bit of British slang that I picked up when I was hanging out with Nick. Odd use of prepositions. They referred to chatting with a young lady as chatting to her. Oh, there's Aaron over there.
Yeah.
Who's chatting to some young lass. So that doesn't seem that seems in line with right? So someone was sleeping to your wife, sleeping at your wife while you were away.
And with that note, we're gonna go to our first break. We're gonna come back in a few minutes with a little more fro. See you guys soon.